Hello, Janine. Excuse you. Yeah, that'd be kind of a drag if she had to work on Mother's Day. Seems like one of those weekends they might have brought Jessica home too. I know she comes home like once a month or something. I kind of did the same thing on Father's Day at work a few years ago. You know, after my father was gone, to allow someone else to be with his family. Aren't as many opportunities for that these days. They're not likely to let me as a lead switch over and do a an operator shift. They have to pay me too much for that. I don't blame them. Starting off my drinking early. Yeah, I know. Maybe. I thought maybe Mother's Day would be a good day to have a live stream. Maybe it wasn't so good of an idea. That's okay. That would be a good reason to cancel it if just everyone was out with their mother. I could live with that. Hello, John. I got some good stuff at the rock show. Yeah, very happy with the pieces I got. I've wanted one of these for a long time, so that's really cool. This isn't as big as they get. The big megalodon teeth can be like, this long, can be like 4 or 5 inches long. Because remember, you're dealing with a shark that's the size of a whale. I mean, I didn't buy a lot. I bought a few nice things. I think I walked away with what do I got? One, two, three, four, five, six things. Yeah, and I got a few of those sort of expensive rocks. Actually, I didn't really buy any rocks that were horribly expensive. I think this is actually pound for pound probably one of the most expensive rocks, and this was just a little over $100, and it was just because um, it was priced by the pound. It was a certain number of dollars per pound, and this is a fairly heavy rock. Other than that, I mean, except for the shark's tooth, I didn't buy a whole lot of really expensive stuff. Good morning, Gene. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good Mother's Day. Yeah, I got some fun stuff. Just what I do is I look around there and say, "Oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, I've never seen that before." And then usually, if you get a good salesperson, they'll try and tell you what it is you got in a little bit. There was that one kind of yellow geode that I showed you early on, and I kind of walked away from that booth when I realized the person there had no idea what it was. They just called it a geode. So I want to know what it is I have. There had to be something because I've never seen one of that color before. Hey Darth, how you doing? Yeah, I had a dollar amount in mind. I didn't even come close to it. I didn't really come close to the budget last year. In fact, as I mentioned, I think in the beginning of this video or that last video, um, 70% of what I went there and spent there was actually with Gallery 11. Oh, yes, Darth. I was at the Rock and Mineral Show last week, which is why I didn't have a live stream. And I got all sorts of fun stuff. I assume you'd like to see it, right? Yeah, we're supposed to be into like 100 degrees by Wednesday. Yeah, see, I know the audience speaks. Okay, here's some of the things I got. This is the littlest thing I got, and I'm really excited about this. This is just a little pebble thing, but this is called trinitite, and this is one of those things. I was walking around there, and I looked at this booth. This was at the same booth as the megalodon tooth, and basically this was sand that was at the site of the Trinity nuclear site, and it was burned into this green glass by the nuclear tests that they did there. And that's it's a more or less man-made mineral, but that's you know glass from a nuclear explosion. So I've heard of that stuff, and I've wanted one of those for a long time. And of course, I went to the show. One of the things I went to the show looking for was a megalodon tooth, and I knew there'd be somebody there would have one. I got a pretty cool one, and so I like that one. It's well shaped. You can still feel the serration on the edges, where the shark tooth would saw through its prey. Saw through the flesh of its what it's eating. But yeah, that's a megalodon tooth. I wanted one of those. And you talk about a guitar pick. Can you imagine that as a guitar pick? That'd be cool. And I've been getting into fossils a little bit. And a couple of weeks ago, when I was at Kara's place, she just had this fossilized clam, and I said, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And so I got that. And that's part of my collection now. And let's see. This is just a kind of a little interesting thing I found at Kara's place a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that was kind of fun. I like the kind of way the crystals kind of, you might not be able to see it in the camera, but it's a bunch of like cubic crystals that almost, or they kind of build on top of each other. So it's like a whole bunch of little cubes all attached to each other. It's got kind of this pretty blue green color. So I thought that was fun. Um, that thing was pretty cool. And I like this one because this one does great things under under a black light too. I don't know if you can see it, but the top there, those crystals are kind of turning red a little bit as a result of, it's kind of a blue color if you look at it that way, but you hit it with the light and it turns red. So I thought that was cool. And then it's even more amazing when you hit it with the shortwave light, because then it gets even more red. It almost looks like fire now, doesn't it? So that's really cool. Yeah, I'm taking my long wave and short wave lights with me everywhere now because you never know what you're going to find. And then that's another piece. Kind of looks kind of plain, like nothing to it. But look at that when you hit it with the black light. And see if I can do it so it doesn't wash out. Kind of just a gorgeous pink color. So that's cool. And this one's pretty amazing too with the shortwave light, because what it does is part of the crystal will kind of charge up. And then when you take the light off of it, it continues to glow for a couple of seconds. And I thought that was really cool. I actually didn't discover that until I got home. So yeah, that was really cool. I like that one. And that's just kind of a raw chunk of agate, but I love some of the colors and patterns in there. It's got almost an opaque look to it. So I like that. It's flattened on one side, so I'm just using that as the bottom. I kind of like my rocks to look rough, not like they've been polished or anything. And then I found these two things at the rock show, and they were right next to each other at the booth. And I saw the yellow one first, and then looked at the red one and said, almost looks like the same thing. And it turns out they are the same thing. Apparently, this one is what the stone looks like in its natural form. And then this one here, after it's been baking in the sun for a while, I guess it turns this kind of red color. So I thought that was cool. But you can see there's some yellow on the side of it too. And I was interested in these right off the bat when I saw them. And then this is one of these people that knew what they were looking at and knew what they had. And they said, and one other thing, and that you got to be kind of careful with this because this has naturally occurring arsenic in it. And I said, so I shouldn't be licking these. And she said, no, that would probably be a bad idea. So you know me, I got some stuff that's like mildly radioactive. And so, if I can get something that's got arsenic in it too, all the better. So I love these things. These look amazing under the white light. So yep, that is the results of my rock hunting trip. Yeah, I got them both because they weren't too bad. The small yellow one was $50, and the larger red one was $100. So like I said, I didn't spend enormous amounts of money. I don't think anything I got was much more than $100, except for that piece of that agate. So got some really great stuff, and also I was hoping something else would happen. This is a little shortwave. I got the two flashlights. I got the long wave light and the shortwave light, and this one goes further away from the visual spectrum. It goes deeper into it's a higher wavelength. And so it becomes almost invisible. And some of the rocks I have do amazing things under the shortwave light. But one of the things I was concerned about is, you compare to that, that's my long wave light. That's a pretty hefty piece of equipment. This thing almost looks like a toy. And so I had been talking to the guy who does all the UV reactive stuff at the show last year. And he was talking about the shortwave lights and how he hoped to have a good shortwave light for the show this year. And so when I went and looked at him, he looked at his booth and got a couple of things from him. I was looking at his rock collection with this thing, and he says, "Oh, what you got to do is you got to look at it with my light." And he pulled out this big monster light and said, "This thing's amazing." I looked at it and said, "You sell those? I need one of those too." And he said, "Yeah." So yeah, that's my new shortwave light. That's the long wave light. So yeah, this thing's a monster. So one of the things I notice about this light, for instance, it's so powerful that you turn it on for a few seconds and the whole top part here will start getting warm. And I was concerned about that with this one because this one's so much bigger. But this one's got these funny little air vents in the side of it here. And when you turn it on, there's actually a fan that blows. It's keeping the whole thing cool. So yeah, so that's my new shortwave light. And this one has some real serious power to it. So no radio signals. Oh, I got a lot of space there. A lot of space in the cabinet. A lot of room to grow. Now, if somebody wants to pick up my rocks and start licking them, they get what they deserve. Yeah, I'll do. Although I do have rocks that you can lick. Yeah, that's kind of gross, right? Work's doing good. It was the boss has been out of town for a couple of weeks, so he was back this week, and it was nice to have him back in there. I don't know if we mentioned this before, but as a lead, I was responsible for a couple of lines of the manufacturing lines, and then the other lead was responsible for the other ones. Well, a few weeks ago, well, about a month and a half ago now, we switched lines. So now I'm having to learn three new lines because they're all a little bit different. They all have their little quirks and personalities. So it keeps it interesting. Bite doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to my rocks. I don't think there's any danger of him getting in there. I can't see him licking my rocks either. Yeah, my pets always seem to understand what the dangers are in the world. Bite stays away from rocks. Uh, when I lived in the house in California, Flash always stayed away from the fish pond. She never had anything to do with the fish pond except when it was empty and when I was painting it. That was the time she decided she had to go four wheeling down the side of it. Yeah, Bite went to his room, I guess. Yeah, no, I don't think there's any danger of that. Bite's kind of a finicky eater. I can't see him going after my rocks. Yeah, actually, I've been known to do that, Gene. Take the lights with me when I go to. I mean, I haven't really done it at Cameron Park because I haven't really wandered around Cameron Park at night. But I did go down to Lake Waco a couple years ago in the summer and found a couple of fun things because that was when the lake water was really low. I don't know what the lake levels are right now. I haven't been out there for a while. Last time I saw it was back to full, but I don't know. I keep seeing news stories about lakes being at historic lows elsewhere in the state. I just don't know about our lake. Maybe that's something I got to take a trip down there and see what's going on. We've had kind of a wet winter this year, but well, actually a wet spring more would be closer to it. Past few weeks, we've had several inches of rain that have come in like big, nice, bundles, and those kind of they don't seep into the ground so much as they kind of run off and end up in the lake. No, I just kind of let everything soak in. As you know from the last vlog, I did that one where I kind of am regrading that area in, in front of the house or in back of the house, so the water kind of pools away from the house, maybe soak in a little slower. Fortunately, all the water that's in the former pool area, that all soaked into the ground within like 24 hours, and it's had 3 days to dry out now. So I'm hopefully going to get out there and do a little bit more building of that the new planter. You start building the wall. I still want to run that piece of PVC under the ground there so that I can get electricity into it easily. No, not no. The cabinets are on hold for a while. I don't know. We'll pick it up at some point. There's just other priorities right now. Like I said, I'm onto the project of the planter, and that's going to be, the big thing here. I think for a while. Yeah, I could do that too. No, probably not this month, but it wouldn't hurt to just take a couple days off. I know my boss keeps saying, "Yeah, you should take some days off." So I don't know. That'll be fun to do. Go down and do a San Antonio trip and hit the Alamo and some of the stuff in San Antonio. Yeah, Yellowstone, that's still going to happen at some point. I'm a procrastinator. I'll keep procrastinating, and at some point, I'll say, okay, this has gone on long enough. I'm going to do it. But yeah, you'll be the first to know when that happens. Or a spring trip. I thought spring would be nice in Yellowstone too, John. No, I haven't talked to Jordan in a couple weeks. Oh, you count on the fact that I'm going to Yellowstone. That's the only reason I'm going to go to Yellowstone is to vlog it. Yeah, that's not even up for debate. But I have kind of gotten to the point where I like driving around a little bit. That trip I made to California a few years ago for my mom's birthday, uh, that was actually I really enjoyed that driving trip a lot more than I thought I would. America is a beautiful place. All right, what'd you do with the brush? There's the brush. Yeah, yeah. Stopped at the crater site. That was actually coming back from my mom's funeral. That was the second time I drove. Well, in this case, I drove there to here. I flew there and then drove home. But yeah, the crater and the petrified forest and Carlsbad Caverns. Yeah, but the nice thing is is once you're halfway here, you're already in Texas. They make a joke that in the extreme panhandle of Texas, an area called El Paso, you're closer to California and El Paso than you are to Dallas. But like I said, it's a beautiful drive. I don't know what the thingy thing is. Going to have to clarify a little. Yeah, our buddy bites here. Well, I did drive through Roswell on the way back. Got out a little bit, but I wanted to make it to Carlsbad Caverns, so I had a couple more hours to drive after that, and wanted to get right outside the park and get the hotel there, so I could just go hit it first thing in the morning. And I was actually out of there by noon, and figured, okay, I'm gonna probably drive halfway home, and then we'll get a hotel or something. And I got like, I made some progress, and said, no, nuts to this. I'm I'm 6 or 7 hours away from home. If I stay on it now, I could be home by 10 o'clock. I could be in my own bed tonight. So I decided to do that. That also gave me an additional day, just to kind of unwind before I had to go back to work. Because I planned, I think, on having like 1 or 2 days to unwind, but I ended up in it with three. So that was fun. I do think I need to take a more thorough trip of Roswell, though, because I've been there twice. Jordan and I went there when we drove to Texas the first time, and then I stopped there on the way home, a year and a half ago after my mom's funeral, and I didn't spend a whole bunch of time in either place. Well, I went to Sutter Mill when I was in California a few years ago. That was where the California Gold Rush started. A ghost town would be fun. I keep seeing people post onto some of my Waco Facebook pages that there's like ghost towns in the area, and so yeah, that would be fun to do. I don't know how much gold mining there was in Texas, so I think that was more of a California kind of thing. I'm trying my best to stay out of California. Occasionally, but for the most part, we have kind of our different things. Jordan did recommend that I do the most popular vlog I ever made, which was my JFK one. That was his idea. He said, "Yeah, you got to do JFK," and so, yeah, okay, I guess we could do that. And of course, some of mine are inspired by his. My filming locations. I've done a couple of those. Dazed and Confused and RoboCop and all that. I would consider going to Death Valley just because I've never been there. And it's interesting from a geological standpoint. Lowest elevation on the planet. That isn't at the bottom of an ocean or something. It's like what 130 feet or something below sea level. And the location of the hottest temperature ever recorded, I believe. I suppose that would be a good place for like Tatooine or something like that. Yeah, I pretty much know what to expect from Death Valley, so I would definitely be prepared. Spawn Ranch, I've been to Spawn Ranch. We did that with Jordan. That was great. That was amazing going there. That was probably one of my favorite vlogs I ever did with Jordan. Was when we went to Spawn Ranch, and I got to do a whole bunch of fun ones with him. But that's sort of my policy for the most part. I don't want to duplicate anything that Jordan's done. Yeah, I've met Scott Michaels a few times. There was one time Jordan did like a get together with, or meet and greet kind of thing with viewers, and he and Scott were gonna use Scott's uh, tour van, and Jordan and Scott were gonna give like a tour of some of the different houses. Yeah, big time into Manson House. In fact, we ended up going to that house, the Omen House or whatever, that's a couple houses down from the Manson house on Cielo Drive. He claims it's haunted. Yeah, we went there during that trip. Went up to the door to the gate of the Manson house and all posed for photos. But I'd been there before because Jordan, when he used to do like food delivery service. It was an overnight kind of thing. It was like almost gourmet meals that were prepared and then delivered to your house in like coolers, and they do it in the middle of the night. So you just get up in the morning and the cooler would be sitting on your porch and be a whole day's worth of food. He used to deliver that stuff, and it was up in the Hollywood Hills, and he delivered to like some famous people too. I remember he took me to Gabe Kaplan's house once. I rode along with him one night just for fun, and we drove up to the Manson house because I guess we were in the area. And said, "You want to see the Manson house?" It's like, "Yes." I think he met Quentin Tarantino up there at one time too during that job. Scott's also a big Rocky Horror fan, and so I remember one of the times we went down to his dearly departed museum. It was to discuss some Rocky Horror stuff, and I was sort of into Rocky Horror at the time too, so that was fun. I guess Scott's kind of an expert on Rocky Horror as well, and he had the Jane Mansfield death car in there. Oh, I met Eddie Van Halen. That's nothing. Everyone's met Eddie Van Halen. Brush the kitty again here. Oh yeah, Shelley Winters too. I never got a chance to meet her, but yeah, I knew him when he was hanging out with her. She was the one that kind of nudged him into acting. I think I heard him say once that she offered to teach him how to be an actor. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I know. I guess yeah, that's right. Marilyn Monroe's roommate. And I mean, Jordan always kind of had a thing for Marilyn Monroe too. A lot of the movies and actors and actresses from that time, he was big time into. Oh, yeah, but he probably would have met people other way. Jordan has always been somebody that can just walk up to a total stranger and start a conversation with them. And you know, if he's in the same room with somebody he admires, he's going to go try and talk to that person, and he can usually get him to get into a conversation. I've seen it happen. And he has just dumb luck running into people at the airport and stuff like that too. Yeah. Jordan was big time into Clark Gable. When I first knew him, it was like big things, you know, big time interest in that. He had like a large poster of him and I don't know other people in his apartment, that little teeny tiny apartment. I sound garbled. Anybody else think I sound garbled? Yeah, it might just be your connection, Gene. He's amazing in terms of his ability to just connect with anybody. Yeah, it could be. Sometimes you just get a little temporary glitch going on there. Might be a little temporary. Yeah. Sometimes if there's like a little temporary burst where a lot of people are downloading something or something, you know, could interfere with your connection, downsample a little bit. No, I didn't know Clark Gable had two children. It doesn't surprise me. I'd be surprised if it was only two. You'd think a guy like that would have all sorts of children. Yeah, maybe the FBI. Who knows? They're hacking your computer. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with the new AC. It works really well. It was a ton of money, but you got to have AC in Texas. That's not an option. Although one of the things I did find out during that period, because I mean that was all happening when it was like 100 degrees out, 95, 100 degrees out every day, and this house does really well with just ceiling fans. It was like 3 or 4 days before the house started getting to the point where it was a little uncomfortable to be in. By that time, the AC was back on. Probably got to do a background check on you if you're working in daycare. There's a lot of weirdos out there, unfortunately. You mean the ceiling fans? Actually, the ceiling fans are only on. This ceiling fan is only on during the live stream because it kind of keeps the air circulating in here. The ceiling fan in my bedroom's on all the time. The ceiling fan in lights room is on all the time. There's also a ceiling fan in the guest bedroom, but I leave that off. I kind of close off the air vents in there and keep everything off because I don't need to be heating or cooling that room. Yeah, that was the worst time in the world to do that. It was so hot out when I was emptying out the pods. And I mean, every time I did it, it was 6 trips because it took me 2 trips to empty out each pod, and that was all in the heat of the summer. In fact, I couldn't even do it every weekend. I had to do it like every other weekend because it took me that long to you know catch up to recover. Oh yeah, I do keep the blinds closed in that room. But we're to the point now where the window on the front of that on in that room is kind of shaded by the trees, so there isn't any direct sunlight hitting that window. So, and most of the other windows I keep closed. The windows in front of the house here, I definitely keep closed because I don't want people looking in my house. That creeps me out. The windows behind me, those are usually the blinds are left open to get, and that's where I get most of the natural light in here. But I close them when I do the live stream just because otherwise it's just too bright back there. Kind of want you to ignore what's in the kitchen. The thing that's in the background is the flag and this thing. Move that over there so it's not blocking the flag. That's disrespectful. There we go. That's better. Yeah, yeah. The bears over here too. Let's see. We only have 10 people in here today. Yeah, I guess it's everyone's celebrating Mother's Day. All right, there we go. There we go. We've increased the viewers by 10%. There's 11 people in here now. Woo! It could be, yeah. They're probably off. I don't know. They like the NASCAR stuff and motorcycle racing, so they might be just out doing some sort of family thing today. I've mentioned the healthcare thing, and yes, Matt is continuing to make videos. I think he put out his 1800th video, uh, like in the last week or so. I'm really happy that he's stuck with it because one of the things I noticed with Matt, he gets kind of fascinated with something, and then gets bored with it after a while, especially if it doesn't turn out to be very successful. And honestly, he's got a lot of stuff up there, but I don't think he's even hit the 500 subscriber mark yet. So he's got a ways to go. So like I said, I'm kind of proud of him for sticking with it because it might be one of those things that once he it kind of hits some level of criticality, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just takes off. And when that happens, he's going to be glad he's got thousands of videos archived. But I always help him by having him running in the background there. And now that I got the computer monitors on swing arms, I can swing that one around and get it into the shot really well. They are. They're actually really beautiful to look at on a big screen. I look at these on there when I'm setting up at the beginning of the live stream and look at this. It's like, geez, these are really beautiful. It's amazing. He's just shooting this, I believe, on an iPad. Puts his iPad on a tripod, and that's the result. It's amazing the quality video that you can get. I believe he's doing them in 4K now too. Never really considered going to 4K. I mean, do you want to look at this face in 4K? Honestly, hey Mark, how you doing? Good to see you again. Yes, happy Mother's Day. Suddenly, I want to start listening to Frank Zappa. Just much higher resolution, Gene. It's basically, there's 4 times as much data in 4K video as traditional high def, which is what I'm running back there. It really wouldn't benefit me a whole lot. It does more for Matt because of the beautiful scenery he shoots and stuff like that. But unless you have a 4K monitor, it's not going to do you any good. Yeah, 1080 high def was that's what I do all my videos in. That's what this live stream is too. In fact, I could do the live stream on my cell phone if I wanted to, but I like doing it on the laptop because on the laptop I can actually do high def. For some reason, the cell phone is 720 high def, which is that's not high def. That's a little bit more than NTSC. Wow. I mean, just look at the image on the screen in the background. The look at that sunset. Can you imagine living there, getting a look at that? Just the garden right now, John. Like I said, that's going to be a long-term project. That's going to probably take a year to complete, and longer if we keep getting rain and that floods the whole section. was all flooded out a few days ago. It looks dry now, so I should be able to get out there and hopefully get some more bricks put into place. And I'm gonna have to keep working on the grading section of the backyard too. That's gonna settle. I'll need to put more soil in there, but we're good for now. Yeah, I remember too when I was in Hawaii the few times. At the time I was visiting there, they had something at Burger King called a 99-cent Whopper, and in Hawaii the 99-cent Whopper was $1.49. Gas prices were higher than even California. But you can kind of understand too, because unless it's something that's actually produced there on the island, everything that you have on the island has to come in from overseas. So it's the cost of getting everything there that makes everything so expensive. Yeah, I always was mostly. I think I was on Maui once. Matt lives on the Big Island, and that's where I always visited. And I think I've been to Oahu, and I think I've been to Maui once. But for the most part, I was just on the Big Island. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Mark. Deaths in the family can kind of be a drag. I get it. I know. I can speak from firsthand. Oh, by the way, hi, Breck. Welcome to the club. Let's see how far I can go before this thing tips over here. It's supposed to be really nice, but we're warming up, and I think it's going to be like 101. They're saying on Wednesday. It'll be in the upper 80s tomorrow, mid 90s on Tuesday, and then 101 before it drips down a little bit again. But we're definitely getting into summer. That's the sad thing. We go from winter to summer too quick. It's been like a month now, month and a half, where it's been kind of reasonable temperatures outside. Wow. Let me say we get all that fur off there, dude. No, but I can imagine it was pretty amazing. Dumb and Dumber and Dumbest and Dumber Than That. Times however many there are on the View. What is it, five now? What is it that Mark Levin calls them? Yentas? Does Bite want a treat? Is that what it is? You heard that, didn't you? That always those mixes will per motor start. Actually, just about anything mixes per motor start. Happy Mother's Day, Pam. Welcome to the party. You just excuse me while I'm giving my cat some treats here. He's not even a mother, but that's okay. Yeah, he's my buddy. Now that he's licked out the inside of the lid, I gotta let the lid dry off before I close it up. Also, it'll get all mildewy in there. And of course, now that he's got his treats, he's back to his room. No, the yard's been on hold just because it's been raining a lot lately, and the whole area has been flooded. But hopefully, uh, it's going to be dry enough out there today. I can try and do something. I was very pleased with the stuff I got at the rock show this year. I got some fun stuff, and I don't know. I've been halfway thinking that I might actually bring some of the stuff I got with me to the rock show today, or rock store today, because it's going to go down to visit her today, of course. If nothing else, I got to show her this. Yeah, I don't know. They just need to pack that guy away into a hospital somewhere, and you know have him just kind of kept safe for a while. He can't be out on his own anymore. It's obvious. I don't know. It might be a big day at the rock store. One of the things that they sell at the rock store, she does a lot of like jewelry and stuff too. In fact, I saw a lot of that at the rock show too. A lot of people selling jewelry and stuff. And some of her jewelry is like pendants that have labradorite or beautiful stones in it. So it's kind of a merging of jewelry and minerals and crystals and stuff. Well, yeah, somebody's got to keep him on a leash. He'll wander off. Yeah, they've been advertising jewelry. In fact, last time I was in there, he remember when the company first started, it was a husband and wife team. It was her and her husband Chris, and he was kind of a jeweler, and she was a rock and mineral person. So it was uncertain how the jewelry thing would continue, after he left the picture. But she's picked up on some of that stuff and kind of picked up and run with it. So, and she had, like I said, she had some beautiful stuff. She says, "I know you're not really into the jewelry, but look at this stuff." And she's right. She has some real nice stuff there. I think it's noon. That's what it means when that noisy thing in the corner chimes 12, right? Not so much bracelets and stuff, but I see like rings and pendants and stuff like that. A lot of that kind of stuff. I've been seeing her post like I said, Labradorite, put into a pendant. Looks really nice. That's another one of those things I'll procrastinate on for a while until I hit it. But yeah, I do want to hit that place. I've been told it's really good. Who knows? It's one of those things that could happen anytime. I might just suddenly decide tomorrow, hey, let's go do it. Like I said, I'd like to find a good Mexican restaurant that's actually truly authentic Mexican, not this Tex-Mex that you see so many places. Not any new Buc-ee's near here. It's funny though, I've been to four Buc-ee's now in Texas. I don't know. I don't think the place, it sounds like it's that expensive. I don't know. I haven't really looked at the prices. I actually probably ought to go online, see if I can find a menu, see what they have. 'Cause, that might just be the thing that makes me say, okay, yeah, I got to go do this. That looks really good. I want that. Oh, yeah, you can never go wrong with pizza either. But sometimes it's okay to splurge a little bit. I worked hard. I can splurge. Yeah, that's what I see a lot of here too. But there's got to be some place that does just authentic Mexican, or at least has authentic Mexican stuff on the menu. There is one other brewery. I haven't been to Southern Roots Brewery yet. It's kind of cool that there's four little microbrews in town. I've been to three of them though. I wish my favorite one would bottle stuff and put it in the stores. My second favorite one does. I can find Brotherwell Brewery stuff. They got three or four varieties of stuff you can find in the store, including one I really like. Yeah, you're right, John. I mean, you'd think that they'd be all over the place because you're right. There are many Hispanics in Texas, but you also got to remember a lot of them are like, you know, they've been in the country for probably longer than my family has. A lot of these Hispanics, this used to be Mexico at one point, and so there are people that've been here for 200 years, and at that point you cease to be a Mexican, you start being a Texan of Hispanic descent, and sometimes they just follow the Tex-Mex trend right over the waterfall there. Adam the Woo's in Mexico. I didn't know that. Of course, how would I know that? I mean, I don't really watch him. I watched him a few times a long time ago, but Adam inspired Jordan. Jordan inspired me. So it's all in there. Well, I mean, I guess it's good that maybe he, tries to expand his horizons a little bit. You can only do so many Disneyland videos before it gets old. Alaska, I think, would be a fun place to go. I've been thinking it'd be fun to go to Minnesota. My parents and I went to Minnesota many years ago. I think probably around the time my grandfather died, and we were out and around looking for cemeteries, and we were driving all over the place. And I remember I had GPS on my cell phone at the time, so I was getting GPS coordinates for where all these people were. I got photos and stuff like that. It'd be fun to go back there and vlog that. Wouldn't want to go. I wouldn't want to be in Alaska in the winter, though. No thanks. I've been in northern Minnesota in the winter. That's enough. Yeah, yeah. I was there in January, and not just in Minnesota, northern Minnesota, like north of Bemidji. So high up in elevation that in the summer it didn't get dark until like 10:30, 11. Started getting bright again about 1:30 in the morning. I heard speaking of Twin Peaks, I heard some interesting information. Apparently, the building where that Twin Peaks was, where there was that biker shootout, yeah, somebody's bought that building and there's going to be some new restaurant in there. That thing's been empty since COVID. Because after the Twin Peaks, biker shootout thing. That place closed, and there was like a crab shack kind of place in there, and that went under due to COVID. And it's been that place has been empty ever since then. I ran into the same thing in Minnesota, Mark. I tried to get Mexican food there, and found a place that was run by an authentic Mexican, but holy cow, he'd altered his recipes for the locals. It was bland and flavorless. Ugh. They're just places you can't get good Mexican food. I gotta say though, I really like that health camp place that I went a couple weeks ago. That was real. That was a really tasty burger. It was a smash burger, definitely, but it was good. Holy cow, was that amazing? Yeah, that was the coldest temperature I'd ever experienced, John. I think it was -30 a couple of times. And the activities during the day was you get up, you walk to the car, you go sit in the bar the whole day, and then you get when the day is over, you get back in the car, you go home, go to bed, and start the whole thing up. And just that walk to the car in the morning, it hurt to breathe. It was so cold. I think it was like -30. Too much. I couldn't live there. I've been to Tijuana, but it was a long time ago. It was when I was a kid. And I'm sure it's not as classy of a place now as it was then. It wasn't very classy then. Yeah, I mean that's basically because the town that my uncle, because that was who I would go visit, was my uncle. He had a cabin up it was on a lake called, well, on a bay of a lake called Cabacona Bay, and there was a little town on the shores of that called Laporte, and that was where he had his cabin. And so we hung out, and there were a couple of bars over there, and that was about all there was. There was a gas station, like a little 24-hour quick stop kind of place, and two bars. I mean, that's all I can really remember in the area. And there was a school and a few hundred houses and stuff like that. But that's it. It was a tiny little little burg. But that always blew my mind. They didn't have much of a grocery store, but they had two bars. Yeah, see, that was the last time I was was in Tijuana. Was like in the '70s. But the drug cartels are there now, and yeah, you just I don't think I'd want to go to Mexico anywhere at this point. America's a great place. I'll just have to do my travels here. I could see myself going to Canada. I don't think Canada is a problem. But like I said, we're gonna stick with the good old USA right now. That's the place for me. There's plenty of great stuff to see here. Got to reposition myself here, make myself a little comfortable. I was slouching a little bit. It makes you old, or at least gives you back problems. No, not that I know of, but sometimes we're just a Facebook posting away from a good story. So, and I seem to have just dumb luck on stumbling in on things too. Being at the right place at the right time. I really haven't looked at a recent Waco calendar though and see what's going on. Sometimes that's what I'll do is I'll just go look for the Waco calendar of events and see what's happening. Yeah, we are coming up on Memorial Day. I'm sure there'll be some good stuff for that. I don't know. I don't know if it was. I think it was Veterans Day. They had the parade, but we could look at that too. 'Cause if they had a Memorial Day parade, that would be a good one to go to. Yeah, that Commodores concert was amazing. I never would have imagined I would have wanted to go see the Commodores, but it was a great show. And honestly, the truth is, the entire Commodore show is up on my personal YouTube channel. I only did little bits and pieces of it for the vlog because I didn't want to get any copyright issues, but I filmed the whole concert. Fourth of July, yeah, we'll have to see if they have a parade for that. That'd be fun. I mean, I've been to those fire engine and Jeep parades and what that place over by Hewitt, I think, last couple of years, but I think that was like Woodway or something. But you can't do. Man, I don't want to do the same thing every year. See the same Jeeps and the same fire trucks. But I would bet you there'd be a good parade in like downtown Waco, going right down to Austin. I would say. I really like the downtown area of Waco. It's kind of a cool little funky place. Yeah, they don't seem to have any parades going down my street, unfortunately. Of course, if they did, I probably wouldn't be able to show it because I wouldn't want to say, "Yeah, this is in front of my house. This is what my neighbor's house looks like." Trying to keep your privacy. That's not a good way to do that. End up having stalkers show up at your house. Hey, I recognize that house across the street. I knew that was right across the street from where you live. Hey, I'm here to kill you. Well, I mean, we have like Goodwill and that kind of stuff around here. I'm not really into like secondhand stuff or things like that. Um, now sometimes I get excited about antiques and stuff like that. Especially for a while there, it was my uranium glass. But I only need so much uranium glass. It's not like I want to get a whole collection of it. I got decent stuff now. Oh, I'm not worried about any of you. I'd invite any of you over to my house. Because I mean, I get to the point where I know you, but you don't know who somebody is just in the background lurking. Says, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, let's go get him." Yeah, I'm going to try and do silo again this year. Like I said, I can only do so much, and it only if it corresponds with our maintenance interval thing at work. That's what happened last year. Is we did maintenance interval, and it was right there first couple of weeks of October, and so I got to do a couple of silos, but I can't be as involved with it anymore because I just can't get out. Can't get out of work at 7:30 anymore. That doesn't happen. Even on a good night, I don't think I was actually out of the building until 8 last night. And sometimes it's 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock before I get out. So, it's like one time, maybe a month that I get out right at 7:30. But my work doesn't stop until the work is done. And so I've got to factor that in. But it's nice also, it contributes to the overtime. The overtime is a significant portion of what I make. Yeah, that's the address, Darth. Yeah, I could just see the company with me walking around in my silo costume. Unfortunately, even best case scenario, if I get off at 7:30, it's a 30-minute drive to Temple, and so I blow in there at 8 o'clock, and that's just when they're opening. So if any later than that, it just ain't gonna work. But yeah, I can't imagine myself dressed up in my Silo of Screams costume at work. I don't know if they'd approve of that. They're pretty open and forgiving on the dress code, but I think that might be pushing it a little bit too far. Just saying. Yeah, I think that's probably correct, Gene. They would absolutely flip out. Freddy Krueger walking down the hall or some zombie. Absolutely, I'm going to mind you. I love it when you come on here. You steer the conversation into odd directions. I never know where we're going to go with your next comment. That's what makes it fun. We get something interesting here, John, that are called consignment shops. I guess they exist other places, but I don't remember seeing them a lot in California. But there's a lot of places around here that are that way. It's basically somebody owns a store, and then they lease little parts of the store to different people who can sell their own stuff. So it's a bunch of like it's almost like a swap meet or something like that, except it's every day and it's in a building. That's what that Cameron Trading Company is. I found a number of those consignment shops there. You find some fun stuff in there. Got really quiet in here. Yeah, I don't know what the trade off is, but I'm sure there is something, and they kind of set their prices based on what they think they can get, and get a still a reasonable profit. A lot of great like antiques. I found a lot of my uranium glass in that place, or another one. It was an actually antiques kind of consignment place. It was up to six a bit. See you, Gene. Have a good church. See you next time. Keep punching my laptop. That's why that happens. We're not. I'm not sure about Rhonda. She might just be doing something with the family today too. They like to do like motorcycle racing, and they're into like NASCAR and stuff like that. So they just might be out doing something as a family. I hope they didn't make her work on Mother's Day, but I don't know. That's a possibility too, I guess. I probably got to get out and see how my homemade mint extract is doing. That's been sitting in the storm shelter for about 4 months now. Be interested to see how that's coming along. And I definitely got to revisit that mint chocolate chip ice cream because I think that could be turned into something good. Yeah, it seems to me that Mother's Day might be one of the days that like Jessica comes home or something. So if they're all together, who knows? Yeah, we may not see them this week. Or maybe they're just really angry at me for not having a vlog or a live stream last week because I was at the rock show. Could be that. I mean, oh, that was the day we were going to come and watch you. We all wanted to see you, and we were looking forward to it, and you didn't even show up. It always does, Darth. It always does. Yeah, we still got a little left, though. It's hard to be planning for Yellowstone when I'm drinking so much vodka, though. I mean, just saying, I gotta cut off the vodka before we start planning for Yellowstone. Otherwise, I'll end up going to Yellowstone via Siberia. That is a place I would love to go visit sometime, though, Siberia. Oh man, Darth's laying down the law here. I don't know. I might take some days off in June or something like that, do a little road trip. It's okay. We can make vodka here. We don't need the Russians to make vodka. Yeah, that would be interesting, making some moonshine. Actually, it's funny. There is a liquor store here that does sell moonshine. It's a little higher octane than you usually get in your hard liquors. I think they go like 120 proof or something like that on some of them. It's all right. Place called Specs. I remember the first time I'd been in the place, and I was just kind of wandering around the place, and they said they had one row that said moonshine. It's like, wait, moonshine? All right, I got to check this out. Hey, bud. Lights on the floor, contemplating whether he's going to come up here. If he wants to exert all that energy to get up here for a little brushing here. He's thinking about it. Oh, he's thinking hard. I don't know. I think he's going to come and visit us. Yeah, I knew it. Got to be the center of attention, don't you? Yeah, he's my buddy. Thank you. Yeah, that was a picture from my mom and dad's wedding. It's actually a picture I've seen many times because my mom had a large version of it hanging in their bedroom. But I got like an 8 by 10 of it or a 5 by 7 or something like that. I said, you know what? That's going to be the picture. We're going to scan that and put that in there. July 1963. Thanks. I'm glad you like it. It's cool having so many old photos of parents and grandparents and great grandparents. I mean, I knew my dad had a huge collection of pictures when, before he passed away. But the fact that my mom had really anything at all blew my mind. And I mean, there was so much stuff that I found that she had. I was in Southern California area. I grew up in Orange County, in a town called Garden Grove, and then moved later on in life to Placentia. And I lived in Placentia until I left about 6 years ago now. We're I think coming up on a couple days from my from 6 years when I left for Texas for the first time. And I've been a Texan ever since. But I know where San Bernardino is. I've been there many times. We're in San Bernardino. Arrowhead. Okay, I've been to Arrowhead a number of times. It's a beautiful area. Really close to the earthquake fault. I think I went bungee jumping with my friend Beth and around Lake Arrowhead. You're learning Cambodian, so you can go to Cambodia. That's quite a commitment. Yeah, I'm going to go visit a foreign country. Let me learn the language first. Just like, yeah, just some basic expressions. Yeah, I get it. You want to at least be able to communicate on some level with the locals. Sounds like an interesting, like a bucket list here. Get diplomas from every country in the world, huh? I don't know. How do you get to Iran or North Korea? And what kind of a degree would you get in Iran or North Korea? I don't know. Something to think about. And I got cat fur all over me. That's the problem with. That's the two problems with rushing bite. One, I punch the computer and it goes, and the monitor goes crazy, and the other, I get fur all over the place. Yep. Yeah, he's just a big fur factory. And then I end up inhaling it. It's in my mouth. Just a big fur machine. Do they have nice beaches in Cambodia? You know, is Cambodia landlocked, or is that on the? I gotta check that out here. See where see exactly where it is here because I know it's over right there by Vietnam. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, it is. It's right next to Vietnam, and it is not landlocked. It has a shoreline. And the beauty here is we can cut away for this here. I think yes. So yeah, there's a kind of zoom out a little bit. We got India and China here, and there's Cambodia right there in the middle. Wonder if they got good beaches in Cambodia. Yeah, it looks like a beach. Maybe not. No, I guess not. Not a lot of beaches, at least not in this area. You want to see beautiful waters, you got to go visit Hawaii. But I'm sure there's plenty of beaches in Mexico that are pretty nice too. But in terms of clear water, yeah, I mean, I love Hawaii for that reason. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the main reason I know about Cambodia is the Khmer Rouge. I haven't decided what's for dinner yet. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I've been eating a lot of spaghetti lately, so who knows? That might be a good one. There's some places where the water can be a little green in California too. Never been to Martha's Vineyard. Doesn't seem like my scene. I got so much like fish in the fridge or in the freezer though. I should probably pull some of that out too. Hmm. It's always pizza time, Darth. Maybe it's time to go find another pizza place, so that would be good too. But first, I got to go down to the rock shop and visit Kara, see if she's got anything. I was hoping to see her a little bit at the rock shop last week. She kind of said that maybe she'd be there, but maybe she went another time. No, I grill the fish. I have put it in the oven a little bit. I'm experimenting with that a little bit too. I've been making this sauce out of basically soy sauce and wasabi. It gives it a real good Asian flavor. Use a little too much, it'll clear your sinuses too. But I have put it in a fry pan too. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that'll make me sneeze. Wasabi on my nose. Ugh. Yeah, yeah, I like salmon too. I got salmon and rainbow trout in the freezer. I don't know, the more that we talk about it, maybe it's gonna be salmon for dinner. Never can go wrong with that. Yeah, no, I don't think I would ever actually put wasabi on my nose or in my nose. I can imagine what that would be. Usually, what I'll do is I'll put it on a little wire rack. The wire rack will be like in a cookie tray, and the cookie tray will be lined with foil, so it doesn't actually sit in the juices, but it doesn't drip into the oven either. Sometimes when I do it in the grill, though, I put it on foil and actually let it kind of almost fry in the foil in the juices. And the juices I use, it's usually a lemon olive oil mixed with, some fresh rosemary if I can get it. Usually some ground garlic. I hear they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do about the bats. They were talking about. You remember I showed you when I was there? There was that field right next to the bat house or the bat place where they put these bat houses up, and the bats were ignoring them. There was talk about making a bat cave that they thought might be more, interesting to or more attractive to the bats. But so far, I haven't heard anything except for the fact that the situation is ongoing. And like I said, yeah, after the olive oil and lemon, like I said, you know, fresh rosemary if you've got it. Definitely garlic. I've even like cooked it in like salsa. Really good. Salmon is great with salsa on top of it. I see robins around here. I love some of the bird wildlife we have here because we have robins and cardinals and really beautiful colored birds. So it's fun to bird watch. In fact, I kind of look at my kitchen window behind me there as like a almost like a duck blind. because the window on the back there has like a coating on it, so I can see out, but they can't see in. So, it's fun to sit there and watch the squirrels and watch the birds. The bird feeders being very popular right now. There's like a line of birds to get to it. One of them will go up and pick on it until they're done. Then the next one will come in. The next one will come in. I had to replace the feeder a couple of weeks ago because it went from being like 80% of the seed cake to like 5% of the seed cake in the space of about 4 days. And the birds have just been going crazy on it lately. So that's good. Yeah, what is it they say? A quarter of a million or something like that? It looked like that because that was amazing video. Because I got the first, I basically ran tape or ran video for the beginning to the end. It was crazy how many brats came out of that. Yeah, there's a bird bath in the planter in the back. In fact, I just cleaned it out and refilled it this morning. I do that every Sunday. That's the first thing I do in the morning is get the yard ready, fill up the bird bath, throw the food out for the squirrels. Throw enough out there so that they'll have food to eat. So I'll see them all weekend. And that attracts some of the birds too. I see like doves coming into the yard to feed on the like dried corn and stuff I put out there. They like that. And apparently, there's like a bridge down near Austin where there's another bat colony that's supposedly larger than the one in that prison. I've got some corn on the cob that I picked up last weekend at the grocery store. It's still a little small, but it's pretty good. If I put a couple of them in there, that and the salmon will be pretty good. But salmon is good with asparagus too. No, not so far. But I still see the squirrels around. I was just thinking this morning. Looks like there's a family of three of them that hang out in the yard because I see them all the time. Every weekend, there's like three of them around looking for food. But their squirrels are all over the place here. You see them, every house has them. So there's probably just like a little small family here and a small family maybe across the street. It's funny. There's like a super highway that the squirrels can use to get from the trees in the backyard to the trees in the front yard. They don't even need to touch the ground. They just scamper over the roof and just jump to the next tree. I got some sort of spot on my glasses here. Yeah, I think I got it now. Almost done with the vodka. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the rock shop. I mean, hey, it's funny because the last 3 weekends now, I've been buying rocks, which is more than I usually do. Because 2 weeks ago, I went to the rock shop, bought a few things. Last week was the rock show in Waco, and I got some things there. And now I'm going back again. So that's 3 weeks in a row. I'm going to be adding rocks to my collection. Got to be careful here, but that's okay. I work hard. I deserve my rocks. You could say I got $1,000 a month rock habit. Well, they've got a points or rewards program that you develop points when you buy things, and then you can trade that in for other rocks and stuff you can get for free. I got like $200 credit over there, so and I just keep letting it ride. We're gonna get something, I want to get something good for free. But yeah, I'm sure I'm one of their best customers, if not their best customer. Chris used to joke that I pay their electric bill. It's probably true. No, I'm not so bored yet. Well, I also am happy that every time I go in there, there's like usually people in there, and it seems to be people that they know, and it's not like the same people every time. So it seems to me they got a lot of repeat customers, and that's a good thing. I don't complain at all if I go in there and have to wait, 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to get a little one-on-one time with Kara. That means that they're doing well. And I was a little concerned about moving into that place because one, I looked at the place right when they announced where it was, and it's like, this doesn't really look like you. But they made it look nice. And I was also concerned that the previous place in that place was a rock and mineral shop, and they aren't there anymore. So the idea of putting another rock and mineral shop in a place where there was one that isn't there anymore, that seemed like not a a winning combination. But I'm guessing she was just assuming the customers would follow her, and it seems to be true. I don't know. I have a lot. I have a lot of rocks that I really like. I This is just one I got last weekend that I really like right now because of the fact that when you hit it with the shortwave light, it glows, and then when you turn the shortwave light off, it actually takes a second for the light to fade away. And so that's a cool one. That's one I just picked up this past weekend. So I don't know. It's hard to say which one's my favorite. I like a lot of them. It's fun to just sit there and look at them at night. See you, Darth. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we're kind of winding down here. I usually am good for about 2 hours, and then it's time to go feed my rock habit. All right, so we got like another minute or so to go. Anyone else have any quick discussions they want to make, or will we end this one and pick it up again next week? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, I guess we're done here. Thanks, everyone. I had a good time today. See you again next week. Off to the rock shop. Good night.